Anyway, we're going to move forward to another important issue, and certainly an issue that has been taken up by the Zimbabwean people over the years, for those who know, and that is the case of Mumia Abu-Jamal, political prisoner here in the United States of America. The voice of the voiceless, he's known to many longtime struggler. He just recently had a court case, a denial in a court case, and as he continues to fight for freedom. And we are very happy to be joined as we continue the show by Noelle Hanrahan, the founder and director of Prison Radio. Noelle, thank you so much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Well, we're really glad to have you. And, maybe for those who have not been following, what was the most recent, not personal appearance, but perhaps appearance of Mumia's case in court that the courts have yet again seemingly averted their eyes from the truth?
So Mumia has been fighting his case for 41 years. So he spent 29 years on death row. He's now serving a life sentence in Pennsylvania. And we had 3 years ago evidence that was found buried in a box in storage room number 17 in the basement of the district attorney's office, was never turned over to the defense. So in the US, there are constitutional violations when you do not provide exculpatory evidence that could prove that Mumia Abu-Jamal was unfairly tried and innocent. This piece of paper said from a main witness, "Where is my money?" It was written right after the trial. It was given to the DA and it was never provided to the defense. That came forward 3 years ago. And the current judge, this and another evidence of bribery of another witness, where they let her work as a sex worker for free and wasn't arrested for years. And then there was another case where they didn't provide the preliminary transcript testimony in a case where she was accused of threatening someone with a knife and stealing their car. This was Cynthia White, a main witness, who said Mumia shot the officer on December 9th, 1981. And that officer, one of the officers, the detectives, got up on the stand and said, "She's a major witness. We want her given special treatment." The court said, "I'm not talking to you about this in my chambers. If you're going to say this, you're going to say it in open court." So there's a transcript, and they did not have that. So there are many pieces of evidence that were buried. There was a new district attorney, radical, progressive district attorney Larry Krasner, came into office, found the materials, gave it to the defense. The judge in this case, in the US, you have a lowest court, which deals with the evidence. That lower court judge was Lucretia Clemens, and she said that that evidence wasn't material, meaning that even though it was suppressed, it violated the Constitution, that even if that evidence had been heard, that the jury would have still convicted him. So there's a tendency to cover up the 30 years of corruption that's happened in the US, the mass incarceration movement. What people know as the people of color and poor people in the US is like an assembly line through our criminal justice system to pay for, it's a way of commodifying workers. It's a way of commodifying labor that they can't find jobs for. It's a way of paying a white working class police force to pay their New Jersey mortgages and to give them a class bump based on the poor people they arrest. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. So part of this decision is to make sure that that Pandora's box for them does not ever open up again. And the finality of Mumia Abu-Jamal's conviction remains. So it was a devastating blow for him. I visited him a day after it came down, and he was devastated. I've been visiting Mumia for 30 years. And when I first saw him, when he had been in 10 and 11 years, he was like, "I'm going to get a new trial. Of course, I'm innocent, and I'm going to get out." And over the years, that has waned. But now this was like dramatic evidence that everyone gets relief on, but not Mumia Abu-Jamal.
I'm glad that you framed the reason why it was so important for them to shut down that appeal. But in the long term, not the long term, this has been long term. You're talking about 4 decades behind bars here. When we talk about political prisoners, we often hear about Julian Assange, who of course is a political prisoner. You don't typically hear the same terminology attached to Mumia Abu-Jamal. So I'm just curious if you can explain to our viewers why this is a situation of political imprisonment.
So the United States government often when they do crimes against the people, literally the COINTELPROs, the assassinations, on U.S. soil, CIA operations, they label the people they're targeting as criminals. And they do that to get a pass with the media and with the people. Because if they, just like they did in other countries in Northern Ireland, if you label someone a criminal, it's harder to see their politics. But we know that Mumia Abu-Jamal was a radical revolutionary journalist. He had his eyes on the prize. He was targeted for prosecution. And the Black community in this culture was targeted. And we have evidence of Nixon saying that they were targeting the Black community by flooding it with drugs. We have the FBI targeting the Black community to prevent the rise of a new Messiah. They were targeting Martin Luther King Jr., they were targeting Malcolm X, and they were targeting all the Panthers. They were targeting environmental activists. So my organization, the Redwood Justice Fund, is an investigative nonprofit. It was founded by an environmentalist, Judy Berry. Judy Berry was working with timber workers and fighting for the redwoods in America. The US government conspired with logging companies to car bomb her, and we won a lawsuit against them proving it. Now, she was an environmental activist, and I was researching the materials, I was doing the legal case. She was literally car bombed because she was trying to pass a resolution to save the California redwoods. When I was doing the research, I was trying to see where she lived, trying to get her background. I was driving around with her parents. The FBI had followed her since she was 17, and they had every place she worked, every place she lived, all of her friends. She was an environmentalist who was a baby environmentalist. By the time they car bombed her, or they framed her for the car bombing, she was older, like 40. But they had everything. They were tracking everyone. One time I went in to see Mumia Abu-Jamal at the prison. And so I went up to the visiting desk, and the guard said to me, "Hey, yo, Joey, do you have the FBI list? Is this one on there?" Look, this is their game. This is how they roll. This is why it's so difficult for us to get traction, is because we're facing internal destabilization. And they've done it historically. They've done it consistently, whether it was the Church Commission, whether it was the COINTELPRO in the 90s, whether it's Mumia Abu-Jamal. When the people try to organize, they are concerned that the people will get, and that's what makes it difficult to bring Mumia Abu-Jamal home. In addition, that he's a revolutionary and he never stopped. He is talking and being a journalist, has written 13 books, is working on his PhD. He just is finishing his comprehensive exams, and he is studying the world we live in through Fanon. It's like a neo-Fanon. So this is a person that they definitely wanted to execute the night they shot him. On December 9th, 1981, they left him bleeding on the street. Like, one of the main things we know about the incident that happened, what the police will never privilege, is that Mumia ran across the street to help his brother, and everyone, even the prosecutor, says the officer shot him first. He fell to the ground, someone else shot the officer. So that's the kind of guy he was. Mumia was, I asked him, when I first met him a long time ago, I said, "Hey, yo, I can go with self-defense, but can you tell me what's up?" And he said, "Oh no, I'm just like, no, no. Wasn't me." He goes, "I've been arrested twice. One was I had a X-Acto pen because he was writing for a newspaper and he walked into a courtroom and it set off the alarm. And then another was he was jaywalking as a Black Panther in Oakland. He crossed the street, not at the crosswalk." Those are Mumia Abu-Jamal's two arrests, no convictions before this incident. Jaywalking and having an X-Acto pen in his pocket going into a courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, when you study the case, it's the level of injustice is so high, it's unbelievable. And I wonder now, Noelle, are we in the sort of clemency only phase here, or are there other elements that potentially could lead to an appeal? I know the door has often been closed by different people over the years, and it seems to at least crack open. Is another thing there? Are we now in a state where it's up to the governor of Pennsylvania?
There are many avenues for relief. The problem is time. Mumia Abu-Jamal will be 69 on April 24th. He's got serious health issues. He's been in 40 years. He's had a double bypass. His exercise is limited. His diet is terrible. The only way you can recover from that. So our enemy is time. Though I would say, I'm a journalist. I produce people from prison getting their voices out. I've been doing that for a long time. About 5 years ago, I went to law school, got a law degree, because we cannot only wait around for other lawyers. We have to get these people out ourselves by any means necessary. And so we have to engage in the state in that way. So what I'm saying is it's not about the courts. It's going to be 10% having a lawyer there to make it happen. It's going to be 90% the political moment. They concede. They will make up a way as soon as the community, the culture, the people, the moment happens where they have to grant relief. That is the only way. It's politics by other means. Law in the US is politics by other means. So if we are stronger, if the demand is at the right moment, that's why the Angola 3 were released. Robert King Wilkerson. That's why people got out, because the moment happened and they blinked. So it's about political energy. It's about people's struggle. It's about how strong we are. And then they never let us know that we're getting close, and they hold on tighter at the end. So it's going to get harder. They're going to be more creepy, and they're going to be more difficult, and it's going to be more painful, but we are going to win.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am with you on that one. Noelle Hanrahan, as always, really appreciate you joining us here on the show and helping us sort through all of this here on the Freedom Side.
Thank you.